Right, now in this lesson we're looking at simultaneous equation. Very important process, especially if you're taking physics. There will be a couple of simultaneous problems there under Newton's laws, Doppler effect, etc. Right? So, solving simultaneous, I just did two examples. One where we have a linear and a quadratic equation, and one where it's given exponential. So basic two ways we're going to test. Alright, now here in the first problem, they say solve simultaneously y plus 7 equal 2x, x squared minus xy plus 3y squared equal 15. Right, so once you have to check simultaneous equation has two unknowns, y and x. Right, so to solve, we have to make one equation either just have x's or y's, so we can solve the first unknown, so that then after that we can solve the second one. So first, the linear equation, I take plus 7 over, it becomes minus 7, and I've made y the subject of the formula. So that becomes 2x minus 7, which gives me equation 1. Second one, we label as equation 2. And then we're going to say sub 1 in 2. So what we mean with that, wherever I see y, there you see y in purple, I'm going to substitute 2x minus 7 in its place. So that stays x squared minus x. The y there becomes 2x minus 7 plus 3. And there y squared becomes 2x minus 7 squared equal 15. So 1 mark for creating an equation, 1 mark for correct substitution. Alright. Now if we multiply out x squared, negative x times 2x gives me negative 2x squared. Negative x times negative 7 gives me plus 7x. Right there, plus 3 stays. And here's where most learners go wrong, even in grade 12 exams, they forget the middle term. So very careful. 2 times 2 would give me 4. X times x, x squared. To get this middle value, we can say 2x times negative 7, which gives me negative 14x. Negative 14x times the 2 gives me negative 28x. Negative times negative is positive. 7 times 7, 49. So don't go multiply 7 by 7 and forget about the negative. It doesn't become negative 49, but plus 49. And if I bring plus 15 over, it becomes negative 15. So if I simplify now, I have x squared minus 2x squared gives me minus x squared. I have 7x. 3 times 4x squared gives me 12x squared. Positive times negative is negative. 28 times 3, 84x. And then 3 times 49, 147 minus 15. And if we simplify, 12x squared minus x squared gives me 11x squared. Minus 84x plus 7 would give me minus 77x. 147 minus 15 gives me 132 equal to 0. So 1 mark for writing in standard form. Alright. From there, as a common factor of 11, if I divide 11 by 11, gives me 1. 77 divided by 11, 7. And 132 divided by 11, 12. If I factorize, x squared is simply x and x. Last term positive, middle term negative, then the signs will always be negative, negative. So 4 times 3 gives me 12. But minus 4x minus 3x gives me minus 7x. So from there, using the zero factor law, x minus 4 equals 0. Take negative 4 over, it becomes plus 4, or x minus 3 equals 0. If I take minus 3 over, it becomes positive 3. That's my equation 3. And now I'm going to sub 3 back into 1. Alright, so there in the place of x, I'm going to substitute 4. Or in the place of x, I'm going to substitute 3. So 2 times 4 gives me 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. 2 times 3 gives me 6. 6 minus 7 gives me negative 1. And 1 mark for the correct answer. This is a compulsory exam question. So generally, we're going to create one equation. We're going to substitute it in. We're going to write it standard form. We're going to factorize, we're going to get the answer. That answer will go back into the original equation we created first, get the second answer. That's the procedure. I hope you get used to it. It will be tested in grade 11 and will be tested in grade 12, compulsory. So hope you follow. Alright, now if you look at problem number 2, basically the same as problem number 1 I've just done. It's just now we're going to create the equation using exponents. So that's the second way we test. There is a third way, but that's more tested in grade 12 exams. Alright, so there I have 2x plus 3. 32 can be expressed with base 2. It's 2 to the power 5. Alright, so because the bases are the same, I can drop them. So I have x plus 3 equal 5y. If I take 3 over, it becomes negative 3. So x equal 5y minus 3. And there I've created my equation 1. Alright, now equation 1 must be substituted back into 2 so that we don't have two unknowns x and y, but only 1. So in short, wherever I see x, I'm going to put 5y minus 3. So there's x squared, so x becomes 5y minus 3 squared. There I have minus xy, I move the y to the front so we don't forget to multiply it. In the place of x, 5y minus 3. That simply stays 3y and 5. So 1 mark for creating the equation, another mark for substitution. So you have 2 out of 6 marks. Alright, when I have 2 terms in a bracket and squared, learners always forget the middle term. So be very careful of that. But to multiply out, 5 times 5, 25. Y times y, y squared. For middle term, for the minus 30y, I have 5y times negative 3, which gives me negative 15, times 2, which gives me negative 30y. Negative 3 times negative 3 gives me plus 9. Minus 5 times 5y becomes minus 5y squared. Negative times negative become positive. 3 times y would give me 3y. That stays 3y. And if I bring 5 across, it was positive there, it becomes negative on the other side. 25y squared minus 5y squared would then give me 20y squared. Minus 30y plus 3y would give me minus 24y. And then 9 minus 5 would give me 4. Right? Generally there's a common factor, so their common factor I can divide by 4 in all of them. 20 divided by 4 would give me 5. Minus 24 divided by 4 would give me negative 6. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. 5 is a prime number, so it can only be 5y times y. 1 can only be 1 times 1. But because the last term is positive and the middle term negative, the signs will always read negative, negative in bracket. So they have minus 1y minus 5y, which then gives me negative 6y. So from there, using zero factor law, 5y minus 1 equals 0. Take 1 across, it becomes positive 1. And I always divide by the coefficient of y. So that becomes 1 over 5. And there if I take 1 across, y equal positive 1. So 1 mark for standard form, 1 mark for factors, 1 mark for the correct answer of y. This must be substituted back into the equation 1 that I've created always. So then in the place of y, I'm going to have 1 over 5, or I'm going to have 1. Alright? So 5 times the fifth will be 5 times 1, which is 5, divided by 5 gives me 1. 1 minus 3 gives me negative 2. 5 times 1 gives me 5. 5 minus 3, then x equal to 2. So 1 mark for that answer. So all in all, 6 marks. Alright, I hope you follow. Practice, as I say, this is a compulsory exam question. Simultaneous equations are a very important concept. Even when we do functions and we find point of intersection, you don't do linear programming more and more at school level, but in linear programming, finding places of maximum and minimum profit, etc., all revolve around point of intersection. Alright, even when we do businesses and we want to find that point where my profit and my losses are the same, it's a point of intersection. So that is all, in short, simultaneous equations. Right? Wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for watching all the way to here, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to ensure you stay up to date with all the videos that I'll be posting. Right? Nothing but the best for you.